It is. Make sure you hit that like button, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're covering the Diddy trial today. A lot of bullshit going on. A lot of one-sided news report. Yeah, they need somebody at the Diddy trial to cover the trial from the defensive end. Like, everybody's choosing the side of the prosecution. What's up, Victoria? Like, I haven't heard not one person reporting on a Diddy case that don't report it favorable for the prosecution. Law and Crime does it. Tessa Tells does it. That's why I say the best person doing it is Lauren, and I don't even know if she's there right now. Davon, what it is? Snake House. The fuck it is, man. Yeah, it's ugly, man. Like, it's another narrative. Like, they making it seem like that this girl, Christina Korn, is like the witness that's tying it all together. Yo, but she sound like another co-conspirator to me. You know what I mean? She sound like another disgruntled employee to me. And we're gonna dive into that today, man. Like, I don't think that that testimony is as strong as media is making it out to be. She was just as complicit as Cassie in all the criminal behavior. If there was criminal behavior, she was a part of it. But now I'm starting to see what the feds is doing. Now I'm starting to see how they're trying to make this thing a RICO. So Diddy is the only defendant. But the criminal enterprise that they talking about is Cassie, is this girl Christina Korn. All of these people is complicit in this whole whatever they trying to allege. But they gave them some type of immunity deal to testify on Diddy, but then that makes them not credible. You know, because they say anything. They probably came at them with federal charges as well. That's why everybody willing to bend. But the same thing, the crazy thing about it though, right, is that these people that's testifying on Diddy, like Don Richard, or whatever the fuck her name is, they all talked about all these horrible things, but they all took breaks from Diddy and then came back. They are like, yo, so the same shit with Cassie. Everybody talk about how horrible Diddy was and what he did, but they all left, got away from him, and came back. Like, I don't, what the fuck do you call that? Like, he just was manipulating everybody. Yo, like, they're painting this narrative that nobody in this Diddy trial had their own mind. Nobody close to Diddy had free will or free range to do it. They was damn near robots. Like, Diddy was like they was puppets and Diddy was just a puppet master. Exactly. They all came back. So that goes exactly, Victoria. So that goes into what I'm saying. If he that bad, if he was this bad of a guy, they making him seem like he's a motherfucking devil. Mind you, then he got some fucked up ways. Don't get me wrong. Don't ever mistake that. Shorty, he is fucked up. But y'all went back to him. On him. So what the fuck really happened? You understand what I'm saying? They left him, came back, left him again. Now they testifying on him. They all just saying like this girl. They all look like Jane Dale to me. A whole bunch of Jane Dales on the stand. Nah, see, this ain't even about freak off. So this lady is testifying about the Kid Cudi situation. And mind you, I told y'all they trying to get the Kid Cudi testimony removed from trial, which they shouldn't have never allowed it because there's no proof. So they got this girl, Christina Korn, trying to tie the knots. You know, she trying to make it. She's trying to tie the knots to the situation. Allegation goes, that's but it's still no facts. Who else is writing the story? Then they say DNA was found at the scene. That's what Davon told me. They found DNA at the scene of the Kid Cudi firebombing, and it was a female's
from
DNA.
2011. And what do we know that happens in 2011, specifically around December of that time?
Money always come with a price. Most things come with a price. I mean, that's how that shit go. Like, yo, they wanted this shit. That's the thing that's pissing me off about it. Like, they wanted it. They're trying to say that Diddy was running the motherfucking criminal enterprise. That's what they're trying to say.
Frame. That is when we start to kind of get into the Kid Cudi and Cassie relationship. Obviously, a very huge talking point throughout a lot of this testimony, especially last week, kind of trickling into this week. And so around this 2011 time frame, Capricorn Clark is no longer Diddy's personal assistant. Now she's a global brand director. So she's around 28 years old around this time. But she said around this time frame, she was also working as Cassie's creative director and manager too. So kind of pulling those double roles. And she said as far as that role of being a creative director, it was kind of about maximizing the optics for Cassie. And so as far as just everything with the Kid Cudi incident, Capricorn Clark explained that Cassie was seeing Kid Cudi in December of 2011. We already know this, but Cassie had asked around this time frame whether or not Kid Cudi could come on a hike with Capricorn and Cassie. And
like, yo, they really prosecuting that man for things that happened in 2011. 2011. Like, yo, this shouldn't even be allowed in trial, yo, because there's no evidence. But you know the feds can use hearsay. See, this is how the feds get away with the bullshit. This is why their conviction rate is so high. Because they can use loose evidence. You know what I mean? But hopefully the judge do the right thing. I don't know if he ruled on this yet. But all this about Kid Cudi, that should need to be taken out the case. Ain't no proof he did that.
That this was going to be a bad idea because Capricorn was concerned whether or not Diddy would find out about this. And so Capricorn was explaining that Diddy had bought her phone, and so he was worried, or she was worried about Diddy seeing these text messages come through from Cassie, kind of explaining that she wanted to bring Kid Cudi on this hike that they were doing together. And so Capricorn
Cassie probably smiled like that since. Have anybody seen Cassie smile lately? She probably smiled like this since Diddy, right? They gonna take Cassie diabolical, yo. We ain't done with her. When this trial over, we get back with her ass. How you gonna take this man money, participate in all the freak offs willingly, and then testify on a nigga? Cassie a dirty motherfucker. Yo, I keep telling y'all, you see these eyes? Watch out for these motherfuckers, man. When you see them eyes that look like that devious face, stay the fuck with her. She dangerous. She'll take your money, then send you to jail, man.
Explained on the stand today that she was the one who brought Cassie in to buy that burner phone, so that way it wouldn't be traced back to Cassie. That way they could talk without Diddy finding out. So that was kind of a big revelation that we learned today, because Capricorn had explained that she got Cassie this burner phone, or she went with her to Best Buy to buy this burner phone because she was afraid that they would all get killed. There's an objection made by the defense, obviously, because
don't forget this face, man. I'm trying to tell you, Cassie is the face of a fucking slime ball. You heard me? She fucking king slime. You need to put her on YSL. YSL Cassie, because that's what the fuck. She act like one of the YSL niggas. Motherfucking Lil Woody and stuff. She probably laid the Woody, y'all. Straight up, yo. We need to dig into her ancestry background. I think Cassie and Woody might got some type of relation. Dirty motherfuckers, both of them.
Everyone's just like, oh my.
Want to participate in all the activities. I mean, and then when a hammer come down, now you want to turn state or turn fed. Oh man, fuck out of here, Cassie.
God, this is now another time where Diddy allegedly threatened to kill either Capricorn Clark or Cassie or somebody in just that fashion. But the objection was sustained, so that part of.
So look, they keep talking about, right? Diddy threatening to kill people. But who the fuck did Diddy kill? Like, it's like it'd been different. It'd be different if they like, man, I seen his ass kill somebody, man. So I took these threats serious. It's like Diddy was high as a bitch, just talking. You heard me? Man, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Don't do nothing. Ain't nobody died. You know what I mean? Diddy ain't killed nobody. Yeah, I mean, we know about the Pac shit. But I'm talking about there's times in this investigation where Diddy has a firearm and he's threatening to harm people. He threatened to kill Suge Knight, never happened. He threatened to kill Kid Cudi, never happened. Like, but they try to create this narrative that he was dangerous. You know, he was trying to kill people, but nobody died. They was doing a whole bunch of bluffing, and these girls wasn't scared. They lying. They lying because know why? Know why they lying? Because they was just as involved. Cassie, this Christina Corm girl. No, that's not her name. Fuck is her name? Whatever the fuck her name is. They was just as complicit. They was just as complicit. They all co-conspirators. The bodyguards, everybody that's testifying on Diddy, y'all, is co-conspirators. But they're allowing them to snitch just to take down Diddy. Meanwhile, they face no consequences for the roles they played.
It is struck from the record, but Capricorn said she all of a sudden was hearing a loud banging at her apartment. And so she said that she looked through the peephole of her apartment door and she saw that Diddy was upset. He was pacing. His body language looked like something was kind of in his hand. So Capricorn Clark opened the door and she said when she did, Diddy was still upset. She explained everything that he wore, from a button-down shirt, a sweater, that he had slacks that just happened to be ripped. And she said it exposed his underwear. But she said that Diddy had a gun in his hand whenever he was banging on her door. And so Diddy said to Capricorn Clark in a very angry way, "Why didn't you tell me who is Scott?" And as we know Scott to be Scott Cudi, a.k.a. Kid Cudi. And so Diddy told Capricorn, "Get dressed. We're going to kill this N-word." That's what she said.
But listen to this. Who corroborates these stories? Like, they're literally just allowing people to just get on the stand and tell stories with no corroboration. No, if he came to your hotel room, where's the security footage of Diddy knocking on the motherfucker? Like, where's the evidence? Like, they're not producing no real evidence, just slander. And they're using it at trial, which is crazy.
And I will say here, Jesse, that Capricorn Clark, when she was on the stand, I wouldn't necessarily characterize it as being casual, but as far as just profanity is concerned, she very much just kind of laid it all out there as far as what was said, what words were used. And so it did get a little profane during some aspects of her testimony. And so, yeah, Diddy had told her that they were going to go kill this person, and that person being Kid Cudi. And so during this testimony, I saw that Diddy was jotting down.
So Diddy went to go pick this girl up. This is what she's saying. Diddy went to go pick this girl up. His assistant. I mean, at this time she's his assistant. He went to go pick up the assistant and said, "Look, man, we ready to go kill Kid Cudi. You gotta come with me." The assistant, a civilian, a female that more than likely never participated in nothing criminal. But Diddy's gonna take her to commit a murder. A murder. Get the fuck out of here, man. That shit sounds foolish. Diddy want to try and kill. That shit was a scared tactic. You want to try and kill. And she's alleged she was kidnapped. Like, she didn't have any choice in the matter. Like, basically what she's saying, Diddy brought the gun there because if she'd have said no, he'd have shot her first. Like, they making it seem like Diddy was just this motherfucking, like he was Aaron Hernandez. You feel me? Like, Diddy was not Aaron Hernandez, y'all. Diddy ain't out this bitch smoking niggas. You feel me? And he's smoking niggas, and then he producing music on weekends. Like, nah, man. That ain't that. If that was the case, we'd have been heard about Diddy killing people, like physically himself. I ain't talking about no dropping no bag. I'm talking about Diddy pulling the trigger, murdering motherfuckers. I ain't talking about we can go all the way back to the Shine situation. That was fucking, what year was that? That was the 90s. We talking about at this time a 40, 50-year-old man. Like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. That shit sound crazy. This is the kidnapping that they talking about. She got kidnapped, y'all. She didn't have no choice. She had to go. Diddy was gonna kill her in the hotel room, right there in front, right there in the room, and walk out.
some notes during this. And so Capricorn said that she didn't want to go, but Diddy made her, and he put a gun in his waist, that same gun that he had in his hand, he put in his waist, and that Diddy still seemed mad.
So he ain't put it to her head. He put it in his waist. I mean, so look, he made her go by putting the gun in his waist. He ain't put the gun to her back. He ain't put it to her hip. He put it to his waist. Like, yo, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, yo, there is a legend. This is kidnapping. So if I was on some bullshit, and I go get one of my homeboys, like, yo, look, yo, we ready to go do this, that, and the third, and he don't want to go. But I talk him into going. I kidnapped him. That's kidnapping now. So, so Best in Society. No, what was that? Oh, Boys of the Hood. Ice Cube and them kidnapped Cuban Gooding Jr. He was kidnapped. He ain't want to go. He was kidnapped, y'all. Like, yo, this shit is crazy, man. The fuck out of here, man. This shit is wild, yo, how they painting this narrative.
Mad, but this time mad at Capricorn. And Capricorn said that Diddy had never been to her house before. But once they were in the car, Diddy moved his gun from his waist to his lap now. But notably, Ruben, who we know as also Rue, but is also D-Rock's little brother, was the one who was driving the car. So it was the three of them, Capricorn, Diddy, and Ruben, a.k.a. Rue. And so Capricorn explained that she wasn't able to leave the Escalade, which I guess is the vehicle that they had driven down to. She said that everything was just happening so fast.
Yo, listen to this testimony. So what the doors was locked on the outside? Like, you could, hey, don't let me out. Like, she couldn't pull an Ice Cube. She couldn't pull an Ice Cube. I mean, couldn't pull a Cuban Gooding Jr. and say, yo, I went out. No, it wasn't ain't no outs when you dealing with Diddy, y'all. It's only in. You feel me? There's no getting out. Like, yo, you gonna die in this shit if you let them tell it.
There was no conversation going on, but they went from Capricorn Clark's home all the way down to Kid Cudi's house, or I guess all the way up to Kid Cudi's house in the Hollywood Hills. And then we're showing an exhibit photo of the Google map that shows kind of the direction of driving or direction of travel from Capricorn Clark's house to Kid.
Oh, let me show y'all something too. Since you're speaking about Diddy oil. So while the feds or somebody is alleging, they put in the paperwork that it was 1,000 barrels of baby oil. But guess what, y'all? It was only 25. They sat there and lied and said it was 1,000 bottles of baby oil. But it was only 25. Prosecutors reveal Diddy only had 25 bottles of baby oil. The 1,000 bottles was an internet rumor started by, I don't know where the fuck, the African American community. They better not said that on the stand, because that is a goddamn lie. That's a huge lie. We ain't started that. That shit was in the paperwork. Assistant U.S. Attorney. How do you know that this was Astroglide in the baby oil that you seized? How many bottles of each? Gannon. 31 Astroglide, 25 baby oil bottles. Any other cell phones? Yes. Page 3, paragraph 11. Yo, they sit there and lied, man. They lied. And I don't know if this is true or not, that they blame it on the African American community. Because that'd be another fucking lie. Because I've read it in the paperwork. I can go to the paperwork and show you where they say it was 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Yo, that's why I be telling you, y'all, people praising the feds, man. These ain't you don't praise these people. He didn't have 1,000. What the fuck would you just the fuck we just read it? So he had 1,000. This man right here is reporting everything from court. How much baby oil did you seize? How many bottles of each? 31 Astroglide, 25 baby oil bottles. They lying, man.
Cudi's home, and then we see that same exhibit photo of Kid Cudi's front door. And so from there, Capricorn was kind of explaining she didn't know
he
whether
wasn't
or
freaky
not
as
Kid
we
Cudi
thought,
was
yo.
actually at his home, but Capricorn said that she had to stay in the car. Meanwhile, Ruben and Diddy went inside Kid Cudi's home. Capricorn explained that she had called Cassie.
Yeah, I don't know where. I don't know if that statement is true or not. It's in parentheses, like that actually was said in court. But if that was said in court, that is crazy. Cause yo, black people did not start that fucking rumor. They said that was a rumor, nigga. That shit was in the paperwork. Several pages in the paperwork. Several different motions. His lawyer was questioned about it on several reputable news sources. They fucking lied.
Of this, and Capricorn had explained to Cassie, she said, Cassie, what the F? And she had told Cassie that she was brought to Kid Cudi's home essentially to be there so that way they could kill him. And Capricorn actually changed the name from Cassie's burner phone over to, like, I guess her best friend's name, because she didn't want Diddy to find out that she called her to give her the heads up. But guess what happens next? Diddy comes out, and she said that while she was on the phone with Cassie, she could hear Kid Cudi on the phone telling Cassie that this man's in my house. Those weren't the exact words that were said, but you get what I'm going with that. But and Cassie was trying to stop him because he could have been killed in this incident, according to Capricorn Clark. Diddy comes out. Diddy explains, who the F are you talking to? Diddy called that same number back, found out that that's Cassie's burner phone, then got livid knowing Cassie even had this extra phone. And so Capricorn said that Kid Cudi later pulled up to his home. He sped off later, though, and then D-Rock, Capricorn, and Rue all followed him in the same car, chased him until they essentially lost him. But then the police responded, and that's when Kid Cudi, I guess, returns back to his home. And it's interesting because I don't recall under direct or even cross-examination that Kid Cudi explaining that he actually drove to the home before the police arrived. But according to Capricorn Clark, that's what she kind of said happened. But she surprisingly said that Diddy was relatively calm when he saw the police sirens going over to Kid Cudi's home, but that afterwards, Capricorn, Diddy, and Ruben all went to the Key Club, and Diddy told Capricorn to essentially call Cassie and tell her to come over here, and Cassie said, okay, well, come get me. So Diddy told Cassie to tell Kid Cudi not to tell the police that Diddy was the one allegedly behind it and not to make a police report about the incident. The Capricorn told Kid Cudi as well, too, not to file this police report, and that Kid Cudi was essentially...
You see what I'm saying? These are co-conspirators. They ain't victims. Listen to what she's testifying to. You called Cassie to tell Cassie to call Kid Cudi. Tell Kid Cudi don't tell the police. You called Kid Cudi yourself, told him don't tell. These are co-conspirators, man. Trying to slide from up under the case. Trying to throw Diddy under the bus. If what they saying is true. I'm willing to bet they lying about a lot.
Mind blown. There was another objection. That objection was sustained, so maybe the mind blown won't be in the transcript. But after this event happened, and after this, because this was just them going into the home, that Capricorn and Cassie went over to Diddy's house, and Diddy began physically assaulting and being physically violent with Cassie. Capricorn explained that he kept kicking her, and he never used his hands. Cassie was crouched into this fetal position.
Elizabeth, let me jump in because it's so loud right now. I know we got the sirens going on. This is the beauty of a live shot right outside the federal courthouse. But look, just from my point of view, look, this is really, really important testimony because it helps establish this alleged kidnapping. It helps to back up what Kid Cudi had
they saying she was kidnapped. Like, they are saying this girl was kidnapped. Like he duct taped her. Threw her in the truck, hog-tied her, put the gun to her. He didn't do none of that. This is crazy, that the people was letting them get away with this bullshit. Yo, he went to the girl house with a gun. Said, yo, take me to Kid Cudi. She agreed. She didn't say she put up any resistance. She didn't say she said no. And he put the gun to her, cocked it back and said, bitch, come on, get in the car. He ain't do none of that. Yo, but they calling this kidnapping. Kidnapping. So if you was to go holler at one of your homegirls and be like, look, man, we ready to go beat these bitches up. And she don't really want to do it, but she go anyway, she can then come back and say that she was kidnapped. If you go holler at one of your homeboys and y'all ready to go do some shit, y'all ready to go fight some other guys, and you ask him to come on, take me to where they at. He a little bit reserved, but he go anyway. That's kidnapping now? Because that's what she's saying. That's what the feds are saying. That's what they're repeating. I just want to make sure I'm understanding this right, because I don't want to find myself I don't want to find myself arrested for kidnapping in anytime soon. You know, just by seeking a friend to help me with a situation. I don't want them to say, yo, I kidnapped you. I don't want you to turn state and be like, yo, I didn't want to go. He made me. And all I did was ask the question. So we need some type of clarification, yo. I mean, do people view that as kidnapping? That's the narrative they're running right now.
To. It helps to describe and back up and corroborate with what Cassandra Ventura had testified to. All this idea that the jury has to believe that Sean Combs was essentially a mob boss, that he was running this criminal organization and had people, engaging in this kind of behavior. And I'll pick it up back to you because the sound stopped. But all
right, but okay, what is the let's look up the definition of kidnapping. Maybe I've been kidnapping niggas for years. I might be kidnapping hella people. You feel me? I don't even know. The more education is key. What is the definition of kidnapping?
Kidnapping means the action of abducting someone and holding them captive.
Yo, she wasn't abducted and held captive. She was abducted and held captive by him knocking on her hotel door, saying, "Yo, take me to go see Kid Cudi." She was abducted and held captive. Let's see. So kidnapping is defined as the unlawful taking and carrying away of a person by force or fraud. I didn't hear no force. It involves the unlawful restraints of a person's liberty, often requiring the victim to be taken to another location or concealed against their will. This crime is considered serious and punishable by law in many jurisdictions. Yo, I did not hear that. I didn't hear force. And I didn't hear no force. I heard him ask her a question and she obliged. It wasn't fraud. He told her, take me to see Kid Cudi. He ain't go to that bitch like, man, look, man, we ready to go to the movies. And then they ended up over Kid Cudi house. he ain't say, look, I want you ride to the market with me. And next thing you know, we sitting down front Kid Cudi house with gasoline and about time cocktail. I don't know. He said, take me to Kid Cudi. And she said, okay. I don't think it was anything fraudulent about that. I think he was obvious and honest about his intentions. Matter of fact, he said, take me to Kid Cudi so I can kill him. If you let her say that, if her testimony is to be taken as true, I think he was overly honest. He probably should have left the killing part out. You feel me? If that's, I wouldn't even have told her that part. Man, this shit is comical, y'all. That people can't see through the bullshit. People just don't like Diddy, yo. So people like, yo, this is bullshit.
Also, real quick, she talked about her work And she talked about being forced. I mean, if we're talking about forced labor, it wasn't just the hours. I mean, she talked about the hours she had to work as well, but also the kind of circumstances.
Down the hours. Yo, she's an assistant. You my personal assistant. Yo, you working 24 hours a day. And aren't assistants, don't you call your assistant middle of the night? Like, I don't think she had a particular time schedule, you know? I call you when I need you. She ain't get her ass whipped. That was Cassie getting her ass whipped. This girl ain't getting no hands and feet put on her. She was the assistant. You don't be beating up on your assistant. I mean, they only beat up on his girls. I don't think he put hands on the assistant too. At least I haven't heard anything about him putting hands on the assistant. Yo, it's not my fault if you scared. I mean, what I supposed to have a fucking scared detector? Like, yo, if you don't openly admit to me that you are scared, then how the fuck am I supposed to know? Now, you can know, but what I'm saying is, how is it my fault that you didn't relate to me that you was scared? I thought you was down. And I thought you was down for the 187. You feel me? Like, this is fucking showtime. Let's go. You my assistant. We rocking out. If you don't say nothing, I'm supposed to know. You got to relate that to me. She never testified that she told him she was scared. Motherfuckers ain't mind readers. He ain't had no motherfucking heart detector on that girl to see her heart beeping fast when he asked her the question.
Of her job too, right?
She did, and as I'm trying to go through my notes, everyone, that's also the beauty of the live shot is finding your place where you'd.
The feds get away with this bullshit, yo, because they don't let cameras in court. Yo, we need to try to figure out a way to overturn that. Yo, if they start allowing cameras in federal court, yo, a lot of this bullshit that they do get exposed, man. Why is the cameras not allowed in federal court? Let's find that out. What's the real reason? Because I don't see no logical reason as to why. Why aren't cameras allowed in federal court?
Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 53 states, except as otherwise provided by a statute or these rules, the court must not permit the taking of photographs in the courtroom during judicial proceedings or the broadcasting of judicial proceedings from the courtroom.
But why?
5.
Why though? Like, they don't even gotta give an explanation. It's just cause. Yo, but they're allowed in state courts everywhere. We need more. We need a real reason. Look, Trump tried to push forward. Hold on, let's see what this say. Editorial. It's long past time to allow cameras in federal court. Yeah, yo, they getting away with dirty shit. Let's look at this real quick before we get back to Diddy. That's the only thing that makes sense.
They covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
They want to be able to railroad niggas quietly, secretly. Shit.
Fraud trial in New York. Reports about the former president's testimony describe it as testy and contentious. In one exchange, the former president said, "This is a very unfair trial, and I hope the public is watching." The public isn't, because we can't. Cameras aren't allowed in courtrooms in the state of New York, despite multiple efforts by media outlets for the judge in this trial to make an exception. The requests were denied. If ever a trial demanded cameras in the courtroom, it's this one. And this foreshadows an even more consequential trial likely to happen next year. The former president faces federal charges for conspiracy, and that trial will take place in a federal courtroom, a place where video and audio recording equipment are still banned. It's hard to believe that in 2023, our federal judges still refuse to allow cameras in their courtrooms. Here in Iowa, there's a presumption of openness in the courts. Cameras have been allowed for more than 40 years with no issues. The former president and his supporters say the charges in all his cases are politically motivated. They decry the unfairness. What better way for Americans to judge the truth than to hear and see it for themselves? Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley has long lobbied for video cameras in federal courtrooms. Americans have access to tons of information. It's long past time to allow cameras in our federal courts.
KCCI.
Yeah, but they're not telling. They don't have no reason. Basically, what I'm getting is they don't have no reason. It's just we ain't doing that shit. So if that's the case, it lets let you know they on some dirty shit. They hiding something.
Everything, because you write down so many notes, I should say. But yeah, as far as just the overworking that she did, she said on a good night she got 4 hours of sleep, and then on a bad night she got 2 hours of sleep. I personally think 4 hours of sleep is kind of a bad night, but according to her, that was just pretty typical. She said that she even got stress-induced alopecia from working with Diddy. She even had to go to a doctor. She said that around that time frame she was making about $65,000 as her salary as a personal assistant. But the thing is, Jesse, she went to HR, and HR calculated Capricorn's overtime, and she said that she had enough overtime that was owed to her, totaling about $80,000 of overtime. That's a lot of money. But what did Diddy do whenever he was shown kind of this paper receipt and kind of this document that showed that she was owed $80,000 in overtime? Diddy allegedly ripped up this paper. That's what Capricorn Clark said while she was on the stand. But like a lot of the other assistants that have testified so far, including David James and George Kaplan as well, that Capricorn Clark's one of her many duties was to set up hotel rooms. And even just thinking about this time frame, right, Jesse, it's from 2004 to 2006. So this was before the Cassie relationship that she was still required to set up these hotels. She said that she would unpack a camera box. This camera box had a camera, lube, baby oil in it. She said that she had to unpack Diddy's clothes, his shoes, a toiletry bag, which a toiletry bag was that Louis Vuitton bag that allegedly had drugs inside of it. She said there were drugs like ecstasy inside this bag. Kind of still the same old tricks, it seems like, too, from just booking these hotel stays, that if it was one of Diddy's girlfriends, because again this was before Cassie Ventura, that the name for the girlfriend would be Jackie Starr, the same alias that was used by Cassie. She had explained that as far as the names for the hotel reservations for Diddy specifically, she said that those could be either Frank Black, they could be Frank White. She even said that during some of these hotel stays that he being Diddy would stay at the hotel with Kim Porter, and this would be something that would happen at least once a week. But there were other girlfriends who would stay at the hotel too. And then even in the aftermath of everything, Jesse, it's kind of that same old thing where she would pack up all of his stuff and clean up after him. And what was kind of on the walls and kind of the stickier stuff that's found inside these hotel rooms, it was baby oil. So it was interesting kind of hearing that even before the Cassie Ventura relationship goes, that Capricorn Clark was essentially doing the same type of responsibilities that other assistants did.
But she probably got hella perks.
With Cassie, and even
she got a little lifestyle too.
Right. Well, listen, we have a lot to break down with her testimony and what to make of it. But Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much
she
for
probably
the
needs
in-depth
no
report.
money.
It feels like I'm, reading the transcript. That's how detailed and thorough your reporting is on this. I know you have to jump back into the courtroom, but Elizabeth, thank you so much.
Thanks, Jeff.
And this was like
so
2004.
we're going to break this down, and we're also going to break
so that 60K probably be like 150 right now.
Down your questions. We see them all coming in right now. So I want to bring on my guests. I'm joined first by criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Safa Robinson Ferrer. Capricorn said she observed Diddy with guns. The government also has unmarked guns in evidence. What impact will this have on the RICO case, right? The racketeering conspiracy. Talk to us about this, Safa.
Going to have a significant impact on the RICO charges, because one of the things that the government has to prove is that there's an underlying predicate offense within a 10-year period to substantiate the RICO charge. The government last week had testimony with respect to the arson in Cudi's vehicle, which is one of the predicate offenses that they would have to prove. Kidnapping is also they have to prove. So if the government can show that Mr. Combs used threats of force or physical violence by way of using a firearm, which is a significant threat of force and would cause them to fear for their life, they can prove the kidnapping. And
They ain't
based on
even in use.
Capricorn Clark's testimony this morning, I think they're on a pretty good path to proving that.
I think the testimony, Cameron, about what the employees went through, what was required of them, even if you go back to one of these former assistants saying that it was Sean Combs' kingdom and we all did what he wanted. One of the things that she testified to is that she had to take a lie detector test. Capricorn Clark had to take a lie detector test. One of the questions is, Danny asks, why did Diddy make Capricorn take a lie detector test? Did she pass or fail? I think it might have had something to do with whether or not she stole jewelry.
Lied. She got a history of lying, man. Hey, you go and take this test. Shit, you got to pass it. If you don't, you out of here.
That's an important aspect of this case as well, right?
I don't even think they charged Diddy with.
Yeah,
is he charged with firearms possession?
Going under incredibly toxic conditions to work. They each probably have their own basis for separate lawsuits against him from, unpaid.
They never even fingerprinted the firearms. They never even fingerprinted them bitches. Them firearms could have been anybody's. Diddy living in a mansion.
Wages to, like I mentioned, hostile work environment, to failure to prevent discrimination and retaliation. Living and working under those conditions. Typically that I represent plaintiffs, and those are the exact working conditions that lead to multiple lawsuits against the same employer.
That man like 15 years.
The testimony from the employees, it's not just one person saying it, multiple people corroborating the same work environment lends absolute credence to it.
So we also get questions in from, not just on YouTube, but we get emails. And there was one that struck us last week. I got to repeat it. I'm going to go to you, Safa. This is an email question from Jamie. I've been watching Law and Crime to keep me updated on the Diddy trial. Thank you all for the information.
Watching Law and Crime keep you updated is going to have you misinformed. Because Law and Crime is pushing the narrative. Like they ain't did not one video in defense of Diddy. Not one video in defense of the defense. They ain't got to defend Diddy. They ain't do not one video taking the defense point of view.
I've heard people on your show and others say that the prosecution's witnesses are providing testimony to show that Cassie was forced and coerced to comply with Diddy's sex fantasy demands in order to support sex trafficking charges. There are men who sexually, physically, financially, and emotionally abuse women using force, fraud, or coercion all the time. It seems that in order for Diddy's crimes to qualify for commercial sex trafficking, someone would have needed to purchase a victim, i.e. Cassie, from Diddy for the purpose of sex acts. It seems that is why
that's what I've been saying. But they changing the rules, and you motherfuckers is allowing them to. They changing the definition of sex trafficking. Yo, basically with same shit she says what I've been saying. For years, sex trafficking, from what we know, from what we knew, it had to have been some type of payment. You know what I mean? Diddy was supposed to have been selling Cassie to the sex workers. And he was supposed to receive payment. He didn't receive no payment. But they're saying this was sex trafficking. Sex trafficking victims was underage. They was runaways. They was foreigners. You understand what I'm saying? And they had pimps who got paid. But they changing the definition, and people is allowing them to. They changing the definition, the definition to make this more broad, so they can come down on more black men. Because I'm telling you, that's all they're going to be attacking is black men. On a large scale, all the feds going to be attacking is black men. Diddy is just the catalyst. Diddy just the first example. But y'all see, they're going to get real next.
These crimes wouldn't qualify for sex trafficking.
Real will be called us from the feds.
That we've heard of yet. Why is anyone talking about that? Am I missing something?
Real.
And then there's also a tagline. Also, still don't understand what RICO is. So, Saf, I'll give the floor to you. Is it about purchasing Cassie for sex trafficking? And also, if you want to give a real quick 4-sentence definition about what RICO is.
So really quickly, RICO is a racketeering, influence, and corrupt
Adam 22
organization,
do
which
it.
essentially means that you have a criminal enterprise that engages in a pattern of behavior that would further that criminal enterprise. There's a few predicate offenses. Some of them include bribery, kidnapping, arson, other things like that. And essentially those would go to prove to further the enterprise, so to speak. So that is basically what a RICO is, first and foremost. Now, with respect to the sex trafficking charges here in the indictment, it's not that Cassie was the one that was purchased for sexual activity, but that they purchased sex workers, so to speak, in order to engage in sexual acts with Cassie, which is why the government had a number of male sex workers that testified with respect to, you know, who they worked for, when they became engaged with Mr. Combs and Cassie.
So it's
when they traveled.
So it's illegal, y'all. If you freaky ass, if you're a freaky ass nigga like Diddy or Shannon Sharp or one of them freaky Adam, one of the motherfuckers, it's freaky. It's illegal now, yo, to pay other people to have sex with your girl, man. It's a federal crime. And Lord forbid you find a sex worker in the next city over. Now you really dealing with the feds. They talking about you traffic. That's talking about traveling interstate commerce. I'm telling y'all, we walking a tightrope. I'm trying to tell you, keep supporting this bullshit. Keep supporting this prosecution of Diddy, and I'm telling you, where it's gonna lead us at in 10 years. You gonna see. I be trying to warn niggas. I be trying to forewarn y'all of what's to come, and motherfuckers be so emotionally detached to the situation. Talk about what about the victims and all that stupid ass shit. When most of these people are co-conspirators, none of them is victims. Cassie is a co-conspirator. The Christina girl was whatever the fuck her name is a co-conspirator. But 10 years from now, when you look back and you see how aggressively the feds started attacking black people for just being freaks, I ain't even gonna say I told you. I'm just gonna be like, try to warn you.
Traveled, or if they traveled from state to state, because there is a transportation and commerce component to that as well. So it's that Mr. Combs essentially purchased these sex or commercial sex workers, transported them via state lines or across state lines for the purposes of engaging in commercial sexual activity with Ms. Ventura.
Saf, I just want to follow up about one point on this. So we actually have a sidebar coming out later tonight about whether or not the prosecution at this point has proved sex trafficking. So I encourage everybody to check it out. But the reason I bring it up is one of the questions I posed there, I'm going to throw to you. Is it also commercial sex, whether or not, putting aside what was paid to these sex workers, if something of value was provided or promised to Cassandra Ventura, is that make it commercial sex? Is it only about the sex workers, or is it something of value, or whether it was gifts or trips or financial dependency or career promises? Is that commercial sex for sex trafficking?
That's what they're trying to make.
To an extent, but more so you see it often with respect to the exchange of currency. Could gifts and things of that nature make a showing of commercial sex? They're trying to make it all sex trafficking. Possibly. But again, with respect to these charges, I don't think that the government is proving exactly that Ms. Ventura was the person that was the basis for the commercial sex act, but that these sex workers that were purchased through this company were the individuals that were commercially or they were the commercial sex workers.
What I say, niggas think I just be talking. What I say, if there's victims in out this whole situation, it's the sex workers. How many times have I said that, real? If there's any victims in this case, it's the fucking sex workers. It ain't Cassie. Same thing she said. Disagree with her, real.
Workers. So I think it's really with respect to those individuals, which I think interestingly enough begs the question of this particular company, which seems to be a legitimized company, employing these sex workers for individuals.
So why they come after the company? Why they ain't coming after the company? If this company is producing sex workers, why the fuck they didn't come after the company? Maybe they next. You know, maybe the company is next on the list. Because I think a lot of people is next on the list. If you sit back and allow this prosecution to Diddy and he go down, watch how many people, companies, is next on the list. Y'all see. OnlyFans. If you're making money off OnlyFans, get ready. They coming for you. I'm trying to tell you.
Now, Cameron, by the way, and correct me if I'm wrong, am I mispronouncing your name? Is it Cameron or Cameron? I keep looking and I'm wondering if I'm saying it incorrectly.
Cameron, I'm a child of Iranian immigrants, so they spelled it in quite an interesting way, but it's Cameron.
Oh,
there you go. Fuck your name.
So we got he accepts it that he could beat her up in front of these people and nobody steps in, nobody does anything. That shows the power of Combs. What is she expected to do? Do you think Usher's going to be called to the stand?
Yeah, he absolutely could be. That's a great point. His testimony is absolutely relevant to show the domestic abuse, to show the forced nature of the relationship and the freak-offs. So as high-profile as he is, and maybe without this testimony, his lawyers could potentially put up some sort of a fight to avoid having him testify, because it is obviously burdensome and difficult at times. But I think it is absolutely relevant in this case. So we could definitely see him on the stand.
If Usher take the stand, I'm breaking my computer. If Usher get on the stand, I'm never getting on YouTube again, y'all. This will be my last video. That nigga Usher better not go in the way and did that motherfucking stand, man. Straight up. We're gonna send his ass back to Diddy camp again. Keep fucking around.
And the witness list is sealed, so we don't really know who's going to take the stand until it's announced at the end of the day. Oh, this person's going to be testifying tomorrow. That's kind of how we knew Capricorn Clark was going to testify today. And I'll just follow up another question for you, Cameron. This is from Sam K. Are there celebrities, like big-name actors, going to testify?
I would think definitely. I think there's, this level of credibility.
There they go live again. There they go live. No, it's not, y'all. Testify to what? There they go. See, that bullshit. Mixing the motherfucking freak-offs with the Diddy parties. Celebrities was at Diddy parties. Diddy did freak-offs with his girlfriends. There's no celebrities at the freak-offs. But there they go blurring the lines, confusing the people. That they know a lie, but since they're not a real news channel, they just here to push propaganda. They get away with it.
That you have for a celebrity who has nothing to gain to come and testify. You saw that with Kate Moss in the Johnny Depp trial.
I've been more right than them the whole time.
Said Kate Moss has no reason.
Fuck you talk about? Look at the videos. I've been more right than them the whole fucking time. And they done did 30 million videos on Diddy. I probably did 20. I watch them to fruit them. I don't watch them for information. The fuck, you ain't noticed that? We don't watch them for information. We watch them to listen to the lies and put out the truth. Fuck boy, stop playing real.
No lie, she doesn't want to be here, right? So I think testimony from people like Kid Cudi, Usher, other celebrities where they really don't want to be there, and presumably are telling the truth because of that reason, are going to be really credible and impactful for the jury.
But for the prosecutor's point of view, you would also have to imagine, do they want it to get this far? Do they, they don't want to call like a J-Lo or a Justin Bieber, right, Cameron? Because then it just confuses what the case is about. It gets too, I think they're trying to be as specific as possible with who the victims are.
It's not about getting info from them. It's about translating the information correctly. That's what it's about. It's about translating it correctly. You can take information in as multiple ways you can look at it. They are purposely pushing people in the wrong direction. Okay, we'll see.
Or what the charges are, because if you take every allegation against Sean Combs in the past 2 years from every civil lawsuit, putting aside the fact whether it's even relevant to the federal case, I don't think they want an expansive case.
See what he just did? You brought up the civil lawsuits, then said, forget the fact if it's even relevant to the criminal case. Then why the fuck did you bring it up? Why are you bringing up the civil lawsuits that a lot of them been tossed out? and related to the criminal case, but then say, you know, but it's not related to the criminal case, then you shouldn't have brought it up. I just want to show y'all the hypocrisy and the narrative spinning that they do over here. They're not sticking to the truth. They pushing, they got an agenda. I told y'all what Long Crime Network is. Long Crime Network is the motherfucking counter, is the equalizer to the blogger, to the independent blogger. That's what Long Crime Network is, the equalizer. We're going to pump them to the top, make them speak on all current topics, so now we control the narrative. That's what Long Crime Network is, man.
It's like that.
Yes and no, and I think Safa can speak more intelligently about this, but usually prosecutors want to give as much evidence as possible and kind of almost beat a dead horse over and over, showing all the bad acts.
Who the fuck own that company? Who the fuck own Long Crime Network? That's a matter of fact, we can find out. What was the name of Jelly Smack? Who owns Jelly Smack? Who owns Jelly Smack?
According to TrackXN.com, Jelly Smack is a Series C company based in New York City, United States, founded in 2016 by Robin Sabin, Michael Philippe, and Swan Maisel. It operates as a video content creation platform for businesses.
Eight investors. SoftBank Vision Funds are the most recent investors. $1 billion. So this is who owns Long Crime Network, if y'all was wondering why I looked it up. Look, the most recent acquisition, Long Crime Network, 2023. If you notice, that's when they started. That's when they started. 2023 is when they started sticking their nose in black people's business. 2 years ago. I wonder who invests in these niggas. SoftBank Vision Fund. Who owns SoftBank Vision Fund?
The SoftBank Group. According to Wikipedia.org, the SoftBank Vision Fund is a venture capital fund founded in 2017. It is managed by SoftBank Investment Advisors, a subsidiary of the SoftBank Group. With over $100 billion in capital, it is the world's largest technology-focused investment fund. 2.
Come on, man. You think Long Crime Network independent? You're crazy. They compromise like a motherfucker.
They're presenting their case first. All that evidence comes in for the jury, and it's pretty impactful. So, I don't know if the prosecution, especially in this case, with the mountain of evidence that they have from the federal indictments and the raids, are going to say, okay, I think we have enough, and let's not confuse the jury. I think the jury, when they have enough bad facts and enough credible witnesses, they'll figure out a way on one of the charges to get a conviction.
I'll throw that to you, Safa, if you have an opinion about it.
Yeah, I would agree with Cameron. But not only that, I always think, and this is more of a style approach, is when you're telling the truth isn't complicated. So I don't think that you need, a bunch of witnesses to repeatedly tell.
Is it okay, legal, for Diddy to pay off Gina to not testify? So assuming Gina is alleged victim number 3, and assuming that's what he did. And if so, will the prosecutors know before it's too late in this case? Safa?
That is 100% illegal. He cannot do that. That is witness tampering. That's bribery.
Well, releasing that motherfucking tape of the Cassie fight was illegal too. Fuck you talking about? Everybody moving across the legal barriers. Yeah, man. They fucking leaked the tape. I don't think they get no more illegal than that. That prejudiced the whole trial.
he would be subject to new criminal charges if he were to do that. Could the government be informed that he did do this or allegedly do this prior to the end of trial? I'm sure, there's an interesting question as to why whoever victim number 3 is, why they didn't testify or why they have not testified as of yet, if they are still missing in action. And I do believe that victim 3 has an attorney. So it's interesting to see how their attorney is playing into this, because generally speaking, when us as defense attorneys, we have a client testify, we are in constant communication with that person. So the last thing I heard, which I'm not sure if it's true, was that the government had not heard from the witness or their, I believe it's her attorney. We'll see, but that is illegal.
According to me.
Yeah, right. We have no evidence to suggest that's what Diddy has done or allegedly did, which, by the way, Cameron, goes to another question we have from Nicole RZV. In high-profile cases like this...
so let's read what happened at court, because I don't want to hear what they got to say. They don't never say nothing of any relevance. Let's see what she testified to. Diddy's ex-assistant, Capricorn Clark, takes the stand. Says Diddy once warned her in a park, "I might have to kill you over Suge Knight ties." And she's still saying to be living. I saying kill her. Judge, welcome back. Call your next witness. The state's attorney. The government calls Capricorn Clark. Where did you grow up? Born in San Francisco. Moved to LA. Worked for Def Jam. Then Death Row Records in the late 90s. Gangster rap label. A late 90s gangster rap label. Okay. What was your relationship to Suge Knight? He is the father of my friend's child. Then you work for Sean Combs? Yes. He is over there in a blue sweater. I worked for him from 2004 to 2012. Were you kidnapped? Yes. What the fuck? Yo, what type of shit? Yo, they just asked the girl blatantly, were you kidnapped? So let's listen to the kidnapping. When did you first meet Mr. Combs? When I moved to New York in 2002. We were super platonic friends. A headhunter said I should work for him as a personal assistant. I did until 2006. Your duties? Shadow him from wake up. I guess until he went to sleep. Then what? Head of the women's for Sean John. No, so she had multiple jobs. She was getting money. How long? A year. Then global brand director for Sean Combs. Name and likeness due diligence to grow the brand. Then I was terminated until 2006 for Cassie Ventura. Okay. Then you work in this building. Yes, we moved there in 2005. Your first day, where did Mr. Combs take you? Central Park. After dark. Along with Uncle Paulie. He looked like a linebacker. Does this photo look like him? No, he doesn't have on the blackout shades he wore all the time. What did Mr. Combs tell you in the park? That since I work for Suge Knight, if anything happened, he might have to kill me. What the fuck? Objection. Overruled. Proceed. How did you take it? Seriously. It had gravitas. Whatever the fuck that means. How did you react? I said, I didn't have anything to do with that stuff. Objection. Judge sustained. What was Paulie's role? All respect of Mr. Combs' movements. All aspects of Mr. Combs' movements to keep him safe. There were also D-Rock, Roger Bonds, and Ruben. Look, Roger Bonds, another co-conspirator, faking like he's a victim. Who's D-Rock? A good friend of Biggie Smalls, running back type body. Did you observe Mr. Combs with a gun? Yes. In my home. And did he talk about it? The fuck is the crew? Yeah, he's not going in order, but we can still read it. And did he talk about it? He, Mr. Combs, told Chris Lighty he had a gun. He had a problem with 50 Cent. Were you ever accused of stealing? Yes, jewelry. It had been given to me. It was a loan. It went missing? Yes. What did you do? From Teterboro, I called 1440 and told them to lock it down. What did Uncle Paulie do? He questioned me 3 hours. You went home? To Queens, yes, with Uncle Paulie. He searched my house. Bitch, you stealing, bitch. Searched the house too. Like she talking about, motherfucker, we out here stealing this shit. Where did Uncle Paulie take you? 1710 Broadway. It was dilapidated. It was being fixed up. But I didn't know that. Uncle Paulie took me to the 6th floor. The door was locked behind us. There was a 6-foot folding table and a heavy-set man. She out here stealing and shit. Now she playing victim. How the thief gonna be the victim? Can you describe him? 5 of me, 2 linebackers. He was chain smoking. Did Uncle Paulie stay? No. Intermittently, he came back. And what did the heavyset man say? I was there to take a lie detector test. Oh my God. Yo, why she just did this whole build up like they took it to the Carter building and they was ready to throw off the 6th floor. They took it there to take a lie detector test. What did he say would happen if you failed the lie detector test? That they would throw me in the East River. Hey, yo. She was throwing the East River. Oh, she better not fail that test. Well, obviously she didn't fail the test. You know, salute to her for passing the test, man. Because if she didn't, she'd have been in the East River. Objection. Can we have a sidebar? Yeah, what the fuck? We got here. See, yo, that's why I didn't need to allow cameras, man. We gotta know what happened after that. Hey, she was accused. Well, she didn't steal it. Well, they thought she was a thief. The fuck? Hey, that don't take the fact that they thought she was a thief. What were you doing for Miss Ventura? Managing her image. Maximizing the optics for her, for Sean Combs. He had final approval on everything. In LA, where did you live? A gated community. We had follow Kim Porter there. Look, she got to live the life. Watch, man, I keep hitting this fucking cord. Hold on. I'm gonna charge that. Let me take this off. Where was Miss Ventura? In New York City, on West End. She would come to LA and stay with him, or with me, or in a hotel. Who else was Miss Ventura saying? Scott Miss Cudi, Rat Cudi. How would you learn that? She brought him to my apartment. Look, she moving dirty. Look, she's a dirty bitch. Yo, Cassie is a dirty motherfucker, man. She out here just moving around. You know, good goddamn well Diddy ain't standing for that. Diddy ain't Papoose. I think we know that. Diddy is not Papoose. You can't be out here fucking around, Cassie. Shit get real. Like, why would you put Miss Cudi in that situation? Why would you put that? Cassie put everybody in a situation. I'm blaming this whole shit on Cassie. Fuck it. Cassie's the problem. Cassie fucked everybody over, man. What did she say? She texted me that they were going to this public place in LA. And you going public. She tried to lie Kid Cudi up. I told her it was a bad idea. And to delete the text. Why? If Mr. Combs learned about Mr. Muscati, Mr. Combs paid for my phone and hers. I took Cassie to Best Buy to get a burner phone. Look, here she go. Acting like she a victim. When did Mr. Combs return to town? Not long after. He took Cassie to a hotel. The Capriana, whatever. And then, December 22nd, 2011, between 5:30 and 6 a.m., they was banging at my door. What did you see through the peephole? A furious puff. Objection. Ask another question, Judge. Miss Steiner. What was his movement? Pacing with something in his hand. Did you open the door? I did. What was he wearing? A button-down sweater, torn pants, and he was holding a gun. He came into my apartment and said, why didn't you tell me? Who is Scott? I said, I don't know any Scott. And what did he say? We're going to kill this nigga. Which means you coming with me, bitch. It's going down. Where was the gun? In his hand. I said I didn't want to go. He said, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. Get dressed. Yo, I don't think she said none of this. See, yo, this is the shit that's they testifying to, but nobody can corroborate this story. Like, yo, they're allowing people to testify to shit that nobody can corroborate. Yo, we don't know if she's telling the truth. What concerns did you have? He never come to my house. Did you try to escape? No, I got dressed. Who joined in? Reuben in a black Escalade executive class. Where was Reuben? The driver's seat. I got in the back seat. Right hand side. Mr. Combs was in the left next to me. Usually he would have sat in the front. Gun was in his lap. I mean, yo, but nobody can dispel this story. Regardless if I know she got immunity. All these people testifying against Diddy got immunity, yo, because they was all co-conspirators. Real? She ain't got to worry about no motherfucking prosecution. How long did it take to drive from home at the time to Cudi's house in the Hollywood Hills? If you push it, 15 to 20 minutes. What did Mr. Combs and Ruby do at Cudi's house? They went in. Could you see them? And what did you... God damn it, bitch. What did you do? I called Cassie on her burner. I said, Cassie, what the fuck? I told her Puff was at Cudi's house. Then I changed her number in my phone to my best friend Stormy. What did you hear on the phone? That Scott was at Cassie's. When Mr. Combs came back, he took my phone and called the last number. Then I saw Cudi driving up. Mr. Combs saw my face and said, there's the end right there. We drove off. I thought he was there to kill him. We drove off and saw the police driving the other way toward Cudi's. Puff was pulling himself together. We stopped at K Club and he told me to call Cassie. What did he tell you to tell Cassie? That he had me and wouldn't let me go. Yo, this is bogus. I don't believe it. So, yo. So Cassie is coming to save the day. So Cassie's ready to trade her life for hers. Cassie's going to trade her life. Basically, what she said is, by Diddy telling her to tell Cassie that if you don't come here, she died. Cassie jumped in her car and flew over that bitch. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. That shit bogus. I don't believe that dumbass shit. Because why is she still living? All these death threats, she'd have been dead, you would have thought. No, I'm a fuck the system type of person. That's what I am. I'm against the system that prosecutes black men more than any other race of people in America. That's what I am. I don't know what the fuck you is, but that's what I am. I'm against the system that this charge that Diddy is arrested for, they never charged nobody other than black people for. Nobody else has ever been charged under this statute but black men. Kim. How did Miss Ventura respond? She said, okay, come get me. She was calm. I thought she said that Diddy said, I'm not going to let you go. Diddy said, tell Cassie come to me. Ain't that what she said? He told me to call Cassie. What did he tell Cassie? That he had me and wouldn't let me go. How did Miss Vasura respond? She said, okay, come get me. That don't really make a whole bunch of sense to me. She was calm. Who drove you home? Reuben. What did Mr. Combs then tell you? To convince Cudi not to say that he had been at his house. I picked up Cassie. Wait till the defense get a hold of her motherfucking ass. And where did you go? We went to Cudi's and tried to convince him not to file a police report. This is a crime, y'all. What did you tell them? That Puff came to my house with a gun. What did you tell them he said? If you tell on him, he's going to hurt us all. What was Mr. Muscotty's reaction? Mind blown. Objection. Joy with disregard. What happened at the house? He was kicking Cassie again and again. God damn it. How was Cassie? In a fetal position, Mr. Combs kicked her all the way up the street. She was crying silently. Where was he kicking her? Her back, her backside, voice cracks. Where were you? 5 feet away. So was Rube. And Cassie gotta stop putting his hands, Diddy gotta stop putting his hands on women, man. God damn, Diddy. That's why Remy Ma need to spend a night with Diddy. They would have got Remy my ass right. I'm trying to tell you. Fuck around. Where did Mr. Combs say to you? What did Mr. Combs say to you? He said, if you jump in, I'm going to fuck you up too. Here we go with this bullshit. What did Rube do? Nothing. Who did you call? D-Rock, I told him. Tell your brother to stop Puff. He's kicking the shit out of her. I called Paulie too. I said he said he'd take care of her, but Rube did nothing. What's next? Mr. Combs told me to get the fuck out too. I left on foot. Could you see her getting kicked? Could you still see her getting kicked? Until I went around the bend. God damn, how long he was kicking her, did? The fuck? Then who did you call? Regina Ventura. I told her he's kicking the shit out of your daughter. I can't call the police, but you can. Why didn't you call police? The mission of the day was to get Cudi. So, no calling police. Jesus Christ. Yo, do you see the conflictedness in her story? She said all of that. And when they asked her, why didn't she call the police? She said the mission of the day was to get Cudi. So, no calling the police. Does that make sense? When you factor everything she just said into this last sentence, does any of that make sense to people? Let me know, y'all, because maybe I'm tripping. That makes absolutely no sense to me. You just was against everything. She just was against everything, but now she said, hell no. We was going to kill Kid Cudi. It wasn't no calling the police. That's basically what she said, y'all. Let me read this in layman terms. We was going to kill Kid Cudi that day, so we wasn't calling no police. That's what she said, y'all, if you ain't heard that way. Damn, y'all. Hold up. This email, who is it from? Cassie. She wrote that he would be releasing 6 sex tapes, about me, and he would have someone else hurt me and Scott Muscati. Do you recall if you responded to this? I don't. Did law enforcement call you? The arson investigator. Cudi had given them my name. I hung up on them. I just wanted this over. What did Mr. Combs say to you? He said, I should kill you bitches. I should cut her face. How many times did Mr. Combs threaten you? I say 50 times. But she was never harmed. He threatened you 50 times, but did nothing to you. But you was in fear for your life, scared to death. I ain't gonna lie, after the 30th threat with nothing being done, I would think that you don't even take them threats serious no more. This nigga just talking. But maybe I'm tripping. D-Rock was there, just doubling down on whatever Puff was saying in the moment. So is D-Rock testifying? Can D-Rock vouch for any of this? Where's D-Rock? D-Rock got to take the stand. We need to hear from D-Rock. Because if nobody can vouch for these stories, yo, there's no evidence to back none of this shit up. That's why this case is so fucking flawed. It's just people talking. Just doubling down on whatever Puff was saying in a moment. Who is Harv Pierre, the president of Bad Boy Records? I told him Puff had kidnapped me. Is Harv Pierre going to testify to that? What did Harv Pierre tell you? He said, that's crazy, but it's going to be okay. I got a termination notice. I was accused on not properly putting in for a vacation I was on. Had you put it in? Yes, to Harv Pierre. Did you lose benefits? All of them. Health, 401k, my house, and car. What did Mr. Combs say? That I would never work again. That he would make me kill myself. Did you get a job offer? I did, but it fell through. I couldn't get a job. Did you settle with Mr. Combs? In October 2012 for objection. Can I approach? Sidebar. Just the one we just read. That's the one we just read. Alright, so listen to this. Diddy's ex-assistant claims she was kidnapped and threatened with Diddy over jewelry dispute. Capricorn Clark, a former music assistant turned brand strategist, is stepping into the spotlight in Sean Combs' federal trial, and her testimony is painting a disturbing picture from inside the music mogul's world. Clark, who once worked for industry heavyweights like Def Jam and Death Row Records, testified that she joined Combs' inner circle in 2002 after moving to New York. A headhunter connected her with the Bad Boy record founder, and in 2004, she was serving as his personal assistant, working closely with him until 2012. Her duties shadowed him from Wake Up, she said. But Clark's testimony quickly turned from career history to serious allegations. She described being taken to Central Park late night by Combs and his associate, Uncle Paulie, where she claimed Diddy issued a chilling warning. Since you work for Suge Knight, if anything happens, I might have to kill you. Though Clark said she took it seriously, she tried to stay uninvolved. But that moment she told the court stuck with her. She continued her work under Diddy until she was let go in 2012, only to return in 2016 in a role tied to Casa Ventura creative project. That stint ended in 2018. Yo, so she did all of that and came back. Diddy did all that shit to her, took her to Central Park, threatened her, said he was going to kill her multiple times, and she came back to work for him in 2016. She came back and worked for him in 2016. 4 years later. However, the most jaw-dropping part of Clark's testimony came when she described being held against her will for several days in December 2011. Yo, because this is bogus, bro. This is bogus. It's sad that so many people supporting it, but I get it. You know, media propaganda is a bitch, and a lot of people can't see past it. But this is bogus, man. You talking about people that was involved, participants. It was all fun when they was involved. As soon as you get cut off, now I'm a victim. I was kidnapped. I was trafficked. Man, this is bogus, man. Clark testified she often worked 20-hour days while employed by Diddy, which caused her to develop hair loss and a stress condition. Well, your job was to be there from wake up. So you the fuck if he was up for 20 hours, then I mean I would think that's your job. That's what you would have to be there for, 20 hours. Fresh off the heels of holiday weekend, the prosecution called next witness to the stand. Clark's former employee. You already read all of that. All right. Clark testified she often worked 20-hour days while employed by Diddy, which caused her to develop hair loss and a stress condition. She testified she typically worked from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. for $55,000 salary. Her job consisted of making sure he was fed, accompanying him to the studio, picking up his dry cleaning, and more. Clark also said she did not get paid overtime, although the head of HR provided her with paperwork proving that Diddy owed her $80,000. How did Diddy respond? He ripped up the paper. Prosecutors began questioning Clark about Diddy hotel stays. Clark testified she was also responsible for setting up hotel rooms, which she typically stayed in with Kim Porter once a week. Clark said part of her job was to set up the hotel rooms with supplies including a camera, bottles of baby oil, lube, and drugs such as ecstasy. Clark also testified that Diddy would book weekly hotel rooms for himself and Cassie where they would use IV drops for several days to help them recover from drug use. Told you she was a co-conspirator. Diddy once forced Cassie to move at his command in front of other women. Clark testified that in the presence of herself and two other women, Diddy called for Cassie to gave her various commands such as walk over there, sit down, turn around, etc. Once Cassie obeyed those commands, Diddy turned to the other women and stated, "You bitches won't do that. That's why you don't have a man." Cassie said she responded with, "You're motherfucking right." Oh, look, see, she loved the treatment. You feel it? Cassie was like, she liked it. Clark testified that she was asked to obtain drugs for Diddy. She said that during a trip to south of France, Diddy asked her to get cocaine. When Clark asked who the drugs were for, Diddy responded, "Not me." Clark said she obtained the cocaine through a security guard and testified Diddy had her retrieve prescription drugs in her name, which he would pay for. Look, committing hella crimes. Capricorn Clark broke down in tears while testifying in the 2006 incident at Diddy's home in Star Island. She said Diddy pushed her multiple times trying to force her out of the house after a chef cursed at her for asking if they had turkey bacon at his residence. Clark responded, "I hate it there." And the chef told Diddy. Clark testified Diddy forcibly shoved her again and again, saying, "If you hate it here, get the fuck out of here." Clark said she quit her job but later returned to the company to work for Cassie. Clark, who managed Cassie's image and career moves, testified she took Cassie to purchase burner phones. Once she already read that. Read that. Read that. Before taking a break, Clark testified that Diddy fired her. She said that while she was accused of not properly putting in her vacation time, she believes she was fired due to not informing Diddy about Cassie and Cudi's relationship. Well, you is the assistant. That is, your job is to assist. Y'all here withhold information. I'd have fired her ass too. Clark said she lost everything, including her health insurance, phone, okay, house car. Bitch, how you working for me and you out here keeping secrets? I'd have fired her ass. Diddy's assistant, Capricorn Clark, says she believed Cassie had some talent, but she wasn't a Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey. Damn. When the defense pushed Clark to evaluate Ventura's singing ability, the witness said she wasn't a Whitney or Mariah level talent, but more of a studio artist. Put out no songs. She wasn't ready. She was a studio artist, which means you don't put out songs. You just sing in the studio. Yo, 50 doing too much trolling. 50 on some clown shit. I ain't fucking with 50. Under cross-examination, the defense presented Clark with emails from January 2012 showing she still continued to work for Bad Boy Records after the incident at Kid Cudi's house. When asked if she continued working with Diddy, when asked if she continued working with Diddy after she said she was kidnapped and forced to go to Cudi's house, she said yes. Girl wasn't no motherfucking kidnapped. Fuck you thought she was kidnapped. This wasn't kidnapped. Agnifilo presented more emails Clark sent to Diddy in the years after the break-in. In the September 2014 message, Clark seemingly wrote Diddy seeking forgiveness, saying, "One day you'll forgive me." Anyway, in an email from February 2015, Clark agreed. She wrote Diddy saying, "Your grace period to be mad at me has surpassed the agreed time. LOL." Another email from Clark to Diddy spoke about a woman. Clark wrote, "She was never my friend. She wanted me gone. I realized." When Agnifilo questioned if this email was about Cassie, Clark became emotional and expressed that the situation was complicated. "I felt that I was Puff protector," she said. Asked Clark about what she observed about Cassie once she developed a romantic relationship with Diddy. Clark, "She went from being a sweet model to being a feisty girlfriend." Clark added that while she thought Cassie had talent, she wasn't on the level of Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey, and said Cassie was who needed things equalized. Yo, nobody is giving us the defense account of what's going on. I don't know, man. I think this is railroad, and I think Joe Rogan is fucking stupid. Him and Aaron Rodgers.
We're on video saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." How many people like openly?
Ain't no party like a Diddy party.
There? LeBron, yeah. How Ashton Kutcher, all these people, like you guys all went. You didn't see nothing.
Yo, did you hear everything we just read, bro? We just read 30 minutes of the prosecution and 3 sentences of the defense. That's what they giving us. That's why they need cameras in the courtroom so we can hear everything.
How many guys were on video saying, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party"? How many people like openly?
You think it's not their time to present the case real? You must know how criminal cases work. The prosecution give their witnesses and the defense cross-examine. Right now she's on cross. The prosecution rests. Now the prosecution can come back if they want to, but you know that's if they want to.
Talked about.
Yo, Diddy parties and Diddy freak offs are not the same. Joe Rogan don't know what the fuck he talking about. Come on, your platform too big to just be able that bitch talking. Fuck boy. Yo, we got here from Lauren LaRose, Lauren, the girl from Breakfast Club. She gives the best. She gives the best coverage because she's fair. She gives both sides. Is she even there? She ain't even there. She out here freaking off and shit. Posting half-naked pics. Bitch, get your ass at the trial. God damn it. Yo, you out here on vacation. I'm joking for real. I like Shorty for real. I be the call out today. But
Kenny Ross.
we need her. Yo, don't ever, yo, why you always do that, yo? Stop, yo, real. Yo. Stop comparing me to these fuckboys, man. Stop it. I'm nothing like Ratchet TV. I'm nothing like the other guy. You know what I mean? Like, yo, stop doing that, yo. We are not the same people. Ratchet TV got a fucking domestic violence case. Like, that's why he defended Diddy. I'm defending Diddy for something totally different. It ain't got nothing to do with this case. Ratchet TV got his problem with putting his hands on women. That's why he's defending Diddy. Yeah, man, we ain't the same, man. I don't fucking pay with that fucking clown. Nigga's a clown. You be over that bitch lying and shit. Yeah, but ask him why. See what he say. Since you watched the fuck boy. Go over there and ask him why. I told you why. See what he tells you. Let's find out what Tissa Towers had to say. Now we ready to hear some serious propaganda. Serious propaganda. I wonder who Tissa Towers worked for. She probably worked for Jelly Smack too. Yeah, she don't need to report nothing to Diddy. The prosecutors, the defense say. Yeah, I don't fuck with him, yo. He's a lying ass. He
Just
be lying.
got out of court, right?
I'm gonna tell you.
got out of court.
I'm gonna tell you why I don't fuck with you, right?
There was so
That
much that went
motherfucker.
on. It was
That guy when Julio got killed. Yo, he ran a whole fake
such a
narrative.
heavy day. Capricorn Clark broke down on the stage.
He ran a whole fake narrative about the whole situation. Boy, was motherfucking I ain't gonna say interrogating the girls, but she had some girls that supposed to have been party promoters. Brought them on this platform, made it seem like they was lying, like they set Julio up. Then got a fake person that supposed to worked at the hotel, and they gave a detailed account of, like, fuck him. Like, he's one of the biggest clowns on the internet. Yeah, he one of the biggest clowns on the internet. Nigga's a fucking cornball. Like, don't fuck with y'all.
But before she did, she broke down Diddy's RICO organization. You guys, also, we gotta talk. Cassie just went into labor. I hope the baby's not premature and it's not because of all the stress. This is what Diddy's team was hoping to do, to actually go into hopefully that they could keep calling her back. She go into labor, and then all of a sudden they can literally strike some of her testimony because they can't ask follow-up questions. Blessings and prayers that Cassie's baby is healthy. If you guys haven't heard, Cassie has gone into labor. It is unknown on whether it is a premature labor. As soon as I find information, I will talk about that. But we gotta
don't give a fuck about nothing. Cassie being in labor. That probably knew that guy a baby. She probably did a freak off a couple times before she got pregnant. Why you trying that shit?
Why? Because this was high-level gaslighting. This was high-level misogyny. This was high-level victim blaming, and it was high-level trying to ignore all the bad stuff Diddy did. The fact that they basically told you that Diddy was the devil incarnate, violent, all this stuff, threatened Capricorn Clark, and all you arguing about is whether she remembers the name of a guard. You're arguing about whether she said she called Lauren London three-way or whether or not, while you're being held at gunpoint, while you're scared somebody's about to be... Yeah, okay. Diddy is... Ugh. Anyway, so where did we last step off? Let's take it from the top. There's so much that happened, but let me take it to the top, okay? Or should we just jump right back in, right? Wanda said, thank you for always bringing us these late updates. Okay, so listen. Basically, she said that Diddy used to have free calls with Kim Porter. They would hotel rooms 3 or 4 days at a time. he would get a 3-point camera system and another small camera. There would always have to be 50 candles, baby oil, lube. There always had to be E. They took that same, like what is it, the black Louis V bag. She would have to pack up, sweep the room. This was in early days, around 2000.
She's not just pro Cassie. She worked for the system. She another one. She another one. If you notice, she never go against the grain. So you gotta be careful. They'll pay close attention to the people that never go against the grain. They never go against the grain. That means they don't got their own opinions. That means they're being told what to say. Because how the fuck did you? What you just go along? You ain't never on the opposite side. You ain't never on the opposite side. You just always on the side of the government. Or whatever narrative, you always on that side. Yo, you got to watch them people, man. Gotta watch them people. She not organic. And she always say, this is independent. Hell no. She says too much to be independent. You ain't gotta convince people you're independent. People can see. She worked for one of them companies. Probably CNN, Fox News or something.
2007, he was doing the same thing with Kim and Cassie. Here's what I want to know. How did Diddy find time to work? How did Diddy find time to work? Because how are you having 3 or 4 day freak-offs? Now, Jonathan Oddie, right? Jonathan Oddie is whatever. You guys, also, just to let you know, I do want to start off with the top of the hour with this. Cassie was rushed to the hospital. Rochelle said, aloha, thank you for covering this.
Real level.
Cassie was rushed to the hospital while we were in court. Cassie was rushed to the hospital. We are waiting to hear what the updates were. We hope that she was not in premature labor, but it was what it was. Stephanie 7, thank you so much for the super chat. Honeybee Therapy, thank you for the super chat. Tess Schumann, thank you for the super chat. Again, this mess with Capricorn Clock was so sad, okay? Okay, so where do we start? I told you guys about the fact that Diddy would make fun to everybody. Now, Diddy's ex-assistant, I'm putting together this for you, testified a couple of days ago that Diddy was bragging like, yeah, I got this young John. She be doing anything I want, right? Like. He wasn't just bragging to that. He literally delighted in the control he had over Cassie. While Lauren London, Chef Jordan, and Capricorn Clark were in the kitchen, Cassie wasn't allowed to be with the other women. Diddy called her in and was like, yo, Cassie, come in. She came in like a robot, didn't say anything. He's like, I'm gonna show y'all bees why y'all don't have a man like me, right? He said, come here. She came over. Come here. Sit down. Turn around. Go pick up that remote. Now bring it back. Now turn around. Now do this. He basically told her to get on one leg and bark like a dog. This is why other women are in the room.
But what did Cassie say? That's right. That's what Cassie said. You see how let's see if she add that part in there. Let's see if she add the part in there when he said, that's why y'all don't got a man. And Cassie was like, that's right. Let's see if she say that or she leave that part out.
Didn't say anything. She silently did every command he barked at her, and he was delighting, like, jump on one foot, do this, do that. She did all of that while other women were in the room, and then quietly left. And Diddy was like, that's why you bees don't have any men. And Capricorn Clark was like, you MFing right. Right? Cable Caught with Mimi exclusive.
That's not what that document just said.
Thank you.
Cassie said that.
So much, you guys. Make sure you guys follow Table Talk by Mimi. So anyway, let me get back into
that's what
this.
We just read.
You guys, this was so sick and sobering, right? She did notice that around that time, Cassie increased drug use. Now, they were trying to, on cross-examine, and be like, so you mean Cassie took Diddy more into drug land? No, man. Cassie was the one taking 2, 3, 4, however
she pushing the narrative, bro.
That Diddy had to make her take. Cassie was the one that being drowned in urine. Cassie was the one that had to do everything. I don't understand. What did Diddy need more rugs for? What did Diddy need? Because from what I look at it, they're trying to look like Cassie corrupted Diddy. I'm just confused. What did you need the rugs for? Was it very upsetting for you to make Cassie be the town bicycle? Was it very upsetting to you and your homeboys that you were taping it and allegedly passing those tapes around? Because at the end of the day, I see why Cassie got more into rugs. But with Diddy, it seemed like he was having the best time of his life.
They both
so again,
was.
I'm wondering, How is this narrative going to spread, Mark Agnifilio? Because Diddy looked like he was having the time of his life. You were the devil. You were the person doing this. So explain to me why you needed more regs. They still haven't broke that down at all. Do you know what I'm saying? T-Boomer said, why was Diddy at the orphanage place? T-Boomer, we're going to get into that. Sonia B said, love you, Teaser from the UK. The Sugar Case said, great reported. Much love from the Sugar Case. Y'all make sure you follow the Sugar Case. And Katie J. Chris said, hardest working woman, love you. Thank you. And Virginia Sells, thank you so much for the super chat. Now let me tell y'all something, because we can skip to the orphanage part and then we'll come back, okay? For those of y'all that don't follow my breadcrumbs, I'm leaving breadcrumbs, okay? Tara Grant said 4K view and get the lights up. It's free. Who's going to testify next? Tomorrow there is going to be a fire investigator specialist and a bunch of people from the government and a few more other people that's going to testify to the technical stuff. On top of that, the government wants to submit a report that links up with the timeline, all the text they got.
I don't want to hear this, y'all. Yo, I want to hear the defense. Like, there's nobody in court reporting for the defense. Tired of listening to the government. I don't give a fuck about the government. I don't believe nothing the government says. Somebody got to go to court report for the defense. Female DNA found on Kid Cudi's car. Let's find out. Maybe she the one that set the car on fire.
It's the burned Porsche that is a key piece of evidence the prosecution is using in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Rapper Kid Cudi says Combs had something to do with a Molotov cocktail landing in his passenger seat in January 2012. Diddy's defense is saying not so fast. The DNA evidence, they argue, could derail the government's attempt to use this charred car as a smoking gun in trying to convince a jury that Sean Combs is guilty. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Before we get back to this episode of On the Case, I want to bring you a Law and Crime legal alert, because if you received a Depo-Provera birth control shot and you were later diagnosed with a spinal or brain tumor called meningioma, you may be take the stand in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs. It's a fire investigator from the Los Angeles Fire Department. That investigator responded to the house of rapper Kid Cudi in LA in January 2012, and this is what they found. That is the rapper's Porsche, damaged from a Molotov cocktail. Yeah, an explosive built with a bottle full of flammable liquid that typically has a cloth inserted to act like a wick. Kid Cudi took the stand last week. He entered the courthouse smoking a cigarette, wearing a leather jacket, and a white t-shirt. Now, Kid Cudi's real name is Scott Miscuddy. He dated Cassandra Ventura, Diddy's ex, the singer known as Cassie, briefly in 2011, and he says that Sean Combs did not like that one bit. Ventura and Combs were in an off-again, on-again relationship that started around 2008 and went to 2018. Kid Cudi testified that he thought, when he was with Cassie, that Ventura and Combs were done. Before we get into how Kid Cudi's car was almost engulfed in flames from a Molotov cocktail, it is important to remind you why an arson case is so important in the government's attempt to convict Sean Combs of racketeering. Arson is one of the predicate offenses under the RICO Act. The government needs to prove at least 2 underlying crimes to be guilty of racketeering, conspiracy, and arson is one of those potential underlying crimes. So you can see why a potential burnt Porsche may go a long way in the government's case. The road to that burned Porsche started back when Kid Cudi says he and Ventura first started dating. Kid Cudi testified that he met Cassie at an event in New York in 2008. They also collabed on some music together, and then they briefly dated in 2011. Now, the rapper said as he understood it, Cassie and, quote, Sean Combs had some problems, and they weren't dating anymore. But then Ventura told Kid Cudi that Diddy had found out they were dating.
I was thinking that shit probably still drivable. You heard me? Somebody golfed it. That bitch probably was still drivable, man. That bitch wasn't even total.
Confused because he didn't think that Diddy and Cassie were speaking anymore. He then testified that Ventura asked him to pick her up because she was worried that Diddy was going to show up at Kid Cudi's house because he gave that address to Diddy. Now, Kid Cudi then said that Cassie was told by a friend, Capricorn Clark, who was also testifying at the trial, she worked as an assistant to Sean Combs, that Diddy and an associate of Diddy were actually inside Kid Cudi's house because she was waiting in the car outside. Now, this was in December 2011. Kid Cudi said that he called Diddy. He confronted him on the phone about an alleged break-in to his house, and Kid Cudi called the police, who filed a report. Then we get to January 2012, and this is key. Kid Cudi said he received a call from his dog sitter that his Porsche was on fire. Now, here are some of the images that the government submitted as evidence of the damage that Molotov cocktail left behind. Kid Cudi said he and Ventura were no longer dating at the time of this fire. Kid Cudi testified that he saw the Molotov cocktail in the front seat of the car and that police were called to his house. In one of the most candid moments of this trial thus far, when asked what his reaction was to his car being set on fire, Kid Cudi replied, "What the?" And you can fill in the blank on that one. Now, Kid Cudi said that he confronted Combs about his car. The two had to sit down to talk about Cassie, the alleged break-in, and what happened to his car. Kid Cudi testified at the end of that meeting. Kid Cudi says he stood up and shook hands with Sean Combs. Quote, "As I was shaking his hand, I said, 'What are we going to do about my car?' I made sure to ask him right when our hands were clasped together, where he couldn't run away, and I could look him square in his eye, and he looked right back at me, a very cold stare, and said, 'I don't know what you're talking about.' I said, 'Okay.'"
No evidence. No evidence he did anything to this car, man. I don't know what you're talking about. What car?
"Hey, I took my hand from his and he said, 'Wait, I thought we were cool. Is there a problem?' I was like, 'You said you didn't burn my car, right? You said that's your word?' And he said, 'Yeah.' And I was like, 'That's it.'" Cudi said that Combs was very calm during that part of the conversation. Heading into that line of testimony, Cudi had said that he thought Combs had something to do with the break-in and his car being lit on fire.
Now you out here fucking niggas bitches. Somebody else could have, you know, however many niggas girls you was fucking, Cudi. Somebody else could have did that shit. A female could have did it. To be honest, another female could have did it. Matter of fact, female DNA found in the car. Yo, Diddy ain't burn that car, man. Diddy wanted to kill him. He ain't want to burn his car. We already acknowledged that based off of the Capricorn girl. I don't think he wanted to kill him and burn his car. Another female burnt that man's car.
That they were having off of the relationship that he had had for a short period of time with Cassie. On cross-examination, the defense tried to poke holes in what Kid Cudi was saying and to raise questions about whether Diddy would actually have something to do with this alleged arson. The defense pointed out that no one has been charged in this case, even though police were called and the LAFD investigated. They also said that fingerprints and DNA were taken from the scene. Then the defense said to Kid Cudi, quote, "You know that DNA comes back to a female, right?" The rapper responded, "You said what now?" And the defense said, "The DNA comes back to the female." It seemed like that line caught Kid Cudi off guard. This week, the government filed this motion ahead of the testimony of this LAFD investigator they plan to call to the stand. And it seems like they're trying to get ahead of the argument that the defense is going to make in connection to that burned Porsche, that there's no physical evidence that Combs was there or involved, and it was a female's DNA that was taken from the Molotov cocktail, according to the defense. Now, the government said they plan to call the LAFD fire investigator who responded to Kid Cudi's house in 2012, but they wanted to stop the defense from questioning that investigator about DNA. Part of the motion reads, quote, "Investigator Jimenez did not collect the swabs personally, did not perform the testing himself, has no personal knowledge regarding..."
See, this is the dirty shit that the feds do. They want to stop the defense from questioning the investigator. They're going to bring a fire investigator there. But the key evidence that excludes Diddy, the feds don't want the defense to even be able to question it. Yo, this is what I be talking about. This is bogus, y'all. This is more bogus tactics by the federal government.
The testing, other than what is included in his report and the additional materials, and does not understand and cannot explain to what partial female DNA refers. The government also says the evidence doesn't talk about which part of the glass bottle the DNA was collected from. That was the first issue that was brought up in court Tuesday morning, and the judge overruled the objection, meaning the defense will have their chance to ask the LAFD fire investigator about the DNA and bring up what was partially found on that Molotov cocktail to the jury once again. Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He is charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty. Join us now to talk about this part of this case involving Sean Diddy Combs is Nima Romani, former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Always great to have you on Law and Crime. Thanks for being here. So there's so much attention on this Porsche that was hit with a Molotov cocktail in 2012. It was Kid Cudi's. And the government's trying to argue that Sean Combs was responsible for this Molotov cocktail. How do you do that?
Well, I think there's a few ways you get there. Obviously, you would love if there was some sort of video or an admission, but you don't have that, right? So what you have is this threat. You know, Cassie testified that Combs threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car. And lo and behold, you know, a short time thereafter, a Molotov cocktail hit the Porsche and it was burned. So, I mean, that's certainly circumstantial evidence that Combs was responsible for it, adding to the episode where
Cassie blew up the car,
Kid Cudi's home, apparently with a gun, and you have people like Kid Cudi, Cassie Ventura, and Capricorn Clark who have now testified that Combs was responsible for that incident. Now, obviously, Combs denied it when he was confronted with it, but I think there's certainly enough evidence for the jury to infer that he was responsible for this arson.
Get the fuck out of here. That's why I don't fuck with them, man. So planned all of the freak offs to a T. Yeah, man, she played the role in it, man. It is circumstantial, but it's still bogus. You know what I mean? It's that I ain't saying that it's right. Yeah, they can't get you on circumstantial evidence, but what are the circumstances? Just because he said it? So if I say real, I'm gonna slap the shit out you when I see you, or I would slap the shit out you, and then 3 days later, somebody else slapped the shit out you. Can they say, yo, KPG News sent that hit? No, somebody else just slapped you first. Like, you feel me? I ain't make my way around to it. Somebody else did it. Like, that's a possibility as well. But they bringing this evidence in and trying to make it fact, but there's no real proof. ain't no real proof that he did this shit, man. Female did it. Kid Cudi's out here fucking up niggas' girl. Oh. Yeah, but we going live at 11. I'm ready. I gotta make these kids something to eat, man. It's getting late. Should I appreciate everybody that tapped? Then y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you new. We be live at 11 o'clock Eastern time tonight. It's another day, KPG News, and I'm out.